Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going the Distance. This is episode 58. Can you believe we've done 58 episodes? I can't, but I want to welcome the new members who are just joining me for the first time, and I want to welcome back the members who have been joining me from the beginning. So if you're new here, I want you to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I want you to hit the thumbs up so you like the video, and I want you to comment your thoughts on the video if you have any thoughts or any predictions of your own, because here we do football predictions and scores, and I kind of like it to be a back and forth. So we've got some football news, another football coaching opening. We had a coach hiring this week, and I want to give you guys my thoughts on a certain quarterback who was eliminated from the playoffs this past week. We're going to have the scores, the predictions, and then we're going to have the what we're listening to segment. So let's jump right into it. So first we're going to start out with a coaching vacancy. And if you're a football fan and you've been following the NFL coaching carousel here the past couple weeks, you know the Bears have an opening. Well, a name popped up that I didn't even think about. I wish I had thought about in the past, and that's Ron Rivera. He's a former Bears player before he retired from the NFL. He was a Bear, and then he retired from the Bears, and then I came to know him when he was a coordinator for the Chargers. He was really good with the Chargers, and then he got a head coaching job with the Carolina Panthers. And he was there for a number of years, took Carolina to a Super Bowl, and then got relieved from his duties in Carolina. Went to the Redskins, or the Commanders, as they like to be called now. Hopefully they go back to the Redskins. And had some success there, not like he did in previous years at Carolina, but had success. And then he was relieved from his duties from the Redskins several years ago. Well, he's been at ESPN doing their NFL Live show. So I, had kind of forgotten about him until his name popped up about a candidate for the head coaching job for the Bears, and I thought, how great would that be? A former Bear coaching the Bears. That's just like what we're going to talk about with our coach hiring next. So I think it would be good. I think Ron has been out of coaching long enough now that he's ready to make his return. And he's had some struggles with, cancer, but he's overcome that. Thank you, Lord. And I think he's ready to make a comeback. I know it's going to be stressful because it's the Bears, but we'll see how that goes. Now they've still got some coaches, coaches they want to talk to, but that's a good hire. As I said last week about Drew Brees going to the Saints, I think that would be a good fit, even though now, thinking back on it, I don't think Drew would do that because of the kids he's got and everything. But, you never know. But you know where to come when things happen, right here to Going the Distance. So now we're going to move on to a coach hiring. And the hiring we're going to talk about is for the New England Patriots. They hired Mike Vrabel as their head coach. Now, that being said, Mike Vrabel was a former linebacker who played for the Patriots, was actually drafted to the Steelers, and then played in 97, and played for the Steelers and then went to New England, and that's where he had the most success, was in New England. Won, I believe, 3 Super Bowls with New England. And that's where I came to know him, was with the Patriots. And then after he was there until 2008, and then he was traded from New England to Kansas City. But when you think Mike Vrabel, you don't think Pittsburgh, you don't think Kansas City, you think New England. He thinks New England. He was a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He was already a head coach for the Tennessee Titans and had success, had one bad season. He was relieved from his duties in 2023 from the Titans after six seasons. And then he became a coaching and personal consultant for the Cleveland Browns. Now, when he signed with the Browns, it was funny, all these other teams wanted him as head coach. Well, the Browns had him. So when this coaching cycle came around, there were thoughts of, hey, let's get Vrabel. So Vrabel went to and interviewed for the Bears, and then he went to interview for the Saints, and I think he interviewed with the Jets too. Go figure. But in essence, when it came right down to it, New England's where he needed to be, and he has signed. He's now the new head coach of the New England Patriots. Let's see how he does. I think that was the plan all along, and I think Gerard Mayo was a bridge to get to that. Because Vrabel did have that Cleveland Browns job, that consulting job, and couldn't break that. So they had to get somebody, so they got Mayo. Now, granted, Mayo was already on the staff, like Vrabel was already a Patriot in the past, but I think Vrabel's going to have success. In fact, New England being my wait to see how Vrabel does in next season, to start next season. Now, I know it probably won't be, back to dynasty like we were back in the day right away, but he can build to that. I saw his press conference, and he's got a lot of heart with this. So, congratulations, Mike. We can't wait to see you next season being the head coach of New England, and I can't wait to see your staff, even though you have talked about getting Josh McDaniel, but I can look past that if you guys have some success. Anyway, we're going to move on, and we found out that Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys have parted ways after so many years. Kind of came to a shock because Mike was right there with, saying he was safe. Jerry Jones said he was going to be safe. Well, at the end of the season, Mike's contract ran out along with all the coaches on Dallas's staff. So not only does Jerry have to find a new head coach, he's got to find a new head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive, all the coaches. And there's rumors that they were in talks with Deion Sanders to be the next head coach. I don't want that to happen. As a, Dallas fan, I don't want to see that. But a name that did pop up, and I'm going to combine two stories in one here. A name that did pop up today was Kellen Moore. Now, Kellen Moore was a coordinator for Dallas several seasons ago and had been a coordinator for Dallas for years. So Dallas and Kellen mutually parted ways several seasons ago. Kellen goes to the rival Philadelphia Eagles as their offensive coordinator. Well, now he's had, success with the offense there, and now this head coaching job has opened up, and he's been a hot commodity for head coaches for a good little while. And I think that Kellen Moore would be the best fit because he knows the coaches, or he knows Jerry, he knows the Cowboys, he knows how it works, and he can build a staff. And maybe, just maybe, I'm just brainstorming here, y'all, so just follow me on this. When the job opened up for the Cowboys, I was seeing Deion, I'm seeing Kellen Moore, I even saw something about a Jason Witten. Because when you think about it, these former players, become coaches. Look at Mike Vrabel. Look at most of the coaches out there. But Vrabel most recently. Maybe Kellen Moore can get hired, hire Jason Witten if he wants it as a coordinator in Dallas, and then eventually maybe we'll see head coach Jason Witten. Who knows? But this might be a plan all along, and the interview for Kellen Moore is going to be Friday, so that's tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys again, like I said. You guys know where to come for any coaching news. Come right here to Goin the Distance, because I will have the news for you, and I'll have my thoughts on it. So now let's move into some playoff scores. We had the wild card games last week, and boy, were they something. We had the Texans defeat the Chargers 32-12. The Chargers played like they had never been on a football field before. In fact, I thought with the addition of Harbaugh, the Chargers did really good. They were a playoff contending team. I thought they'd make it far, but then you hit a brick wall in the Houston Texans, and you forced Justin Herbert, I believe it was 4 interceptions in that game. Should have been more. I thought, it looked like more, but I think it went down as 4. And now the Chargers have started their offseason, and the Texans get to move on, and we'll get into who they play next here in a little bit, because I believe the divisional round this weekend is going to be a hard-fought division round. But anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. The Texans defeat the Chargers 32-12. The Ravens defeat the Steelers 28-14. Kind of surprised the Texans or the Ravens won as big as they did. I thought Pittsburgh would put up a few more points, a little more of a fight than they did, but in the end, Baltimore was just too much for them. The Bills defeated the Broncos 31-7. Happy about that, because if you've watched any of my previous videos, and if you haven't, I've said that I believe Buffalo is going to the playoffs or going to the Super Bowl along with the Lions. And that is the Super Bowl everybody wants to see. Bills, Lions. That's what I want to see, even though I like both quarterbacks. But, that's bound to happen. At some point, I'm going to have 2 quarterbacks or 2 teams that I like going up against each other in the Super Bowl. One for the AFC, one for the NFC. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, Bills defeat Broncos 31-7. Bo Nix had a great season. Can't wait to see what he does next season. Moving on, the Eagles defeated the Packers 22-10, and that was actually surprising to me that the Packers only put up 10 points and didn't put up more of a fight to the Eagles. But you're talking Jalen Hurts. You're talking A.J. Brown, who, let's just be honest here, A.J. Brown got a little cocky during that game. I saw that he was reading a book on the sidelines during the game while he was waiting. He wasn't looking at plays. He was reading the book. Don't know what the book was, but he was reading it, not paying attention to the game. So, it's things like that I'm like, really? Why? What's the point? But Eagles are moving on. They defeat the Packers 22-10. Hate it for you, Packers. Wish y'all had won that game. Moving on to the Sunday night game, we have the Redskins defeat the Buccaneers 23-20 in what was a great game. Now, granted, the Redskins only won because of a Baker Mayfield fumble, but at the end of the game, because that game was tied going into it, so the Redskins grabbed the ball, got in field goal range, and kicked the field goal. So, Redskins are moving on, and I'll tell you who they play here in a little bit. Sorry, y'all, I had to yawn a little bit. Buccaneers have a great offseason. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with next season. And then moving on to the Monday night game, which I'm gonna talk a little bit about one of the quarterbacks here. The Rams defeated the Vikings 27-9. Now, that's not surprising to me. The Rams defeated the Vikings. And the quarterback I want to talk about is Sam Darnold. Now, what are y'all's thoughts on Sam Darnold? Do you like him? Do you think he's a good quarterback? Do you think, what are y'all's thoughts? I'm not a huge fan. I've known him since paid attention to him since he was drafted in 2018 to the Jets. And he couldn't get anything together with the Jets. In fact, he was kind of a laughingstock with the Jets. And that was all they had. He was all they had, so they had to keep him for a little while. But the minute they could get rid of him, they got rid of him and they traded him to Carolina. Well, he comes to Carolina and he's not any better. He plays that season, but he's still not, the great quarterback that everybody talked about him being this season. And he finished his season out. Now, granted, Baker Mayfield was on that team with Sam Darnold. So, both those guys did pretty good this season. In fact, I think Baker is a much better quarterback, hands down, than Sam Darnold. No question about it. But he leaves Carolina. Sam has a year in Carolina, leaves Carolina, and then backs up Brock Purdy with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, he's a career backup, in my opinion. He's a better backup than he is a starting quarterback. But I think Sitton really kind of got him thinking, man, I need to step my game up if I can really do that. I mean, you see, what it's like, so we'll see. So he spends a year with the 49ers. And then he signs with the Vikings, who, in my opinion, the Vikings did with Sam Darnold what the Pittsburgh Steelers did with Justin Fields. Minnesota signed Sam Darnold to be the backup to J.J. McCarthy, like Pittsburgh signed Justin Fields to be the backup to Russell. Well, lo and behold, J.J. McCarthy gets hurt. He is out for the season. Well, in walks Sam Darnold. And y'all, the Vikings had a 14-win season this season. I don't see it. I don't see what the big hype is with Sam Darnold. I just don't. The man in his career has 98 touchdowns, 68 interceptions. I mean, you'd think with him being in the leagues as long as he's been in, he ought to learn and know better from some of these, for these games, and paid attention to the games that, he did bad in, and to work on it. But I don't even think he's done that. And they talk about Kevin O'Connell being the quarterback whisperer, and he is. And maybe that was Sam Darnold's goodness this season, is he had a good coach. I don't know. But I don't see what the big hype is. What do you guys think? Do you like him? Do you not? Let me know in the comments what you think. And do you think if wherever he goes, if Minnesota re-signs him, if he goes somewhere else, do you think he'll have a good season next season? Who knows? Let me know. But now we're going to move into the playoff predictions for the division round. Now, the division round has the two teams that the two number one seeds are back to play this week. So starting out on Saturday at 4:30 on ESPN, we have the Texans at the Chiefs. Sorry, I was about to say cheaters there. The cheating Chiefs, actually. As much as I would love to see the Texans win in this game, and they have a legitimate shot. I mean, you see how they've been playing all season. They could really put up some points. But in the end, I think with the refs, I think with it being in Kansas City, I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. And it might be by a field goal because that's been their MO all season. So, Texans-Chiefs, I think the Chiefs are going to win. And then the game I'm looking forward to is the Redskins or the Commanders at the Detroit Lions. Y'all, this is going to be a heck of a game. The Commanders have looked good. Jalen Daniels has looked like, he's been in the league for 4 years, 5 years. The man is just phenomenal. And then you've got Detroit, who's been coming on for the past 2 years. And Dan Campbell's been good for that organization. Jared Goff is good for that organization. And, you know, that's what they need. Detroit needs that. Now, Dan Campbell was a player for the Lions back when they went 0-16. So he knows this losing mentality. And granted, his first season, they went like 3-13. And then the second year, they went, they did better. But then this year, they've done phenomenal and won 15 games. So and the number 1 seed in the first round bye. So this is going to be a game to watch. This is going to be, in my opinion, the game of the week. Well, one of 2 games of the week, in my opinion. But I believe in the end, the Lions are going to come out as victorious, and they're going to go to the championship game. So those games are both on Saturday, and that Lions game is on Fox at 8 p.m. on Saturday night. So now moving to Sunday, we've got 2 games on Sunday. We have, to start out with, we have the Rams at the Eagles. Now, I think the Eagles are going to win this game on the sole fact that they're playing at home and, they go out there to hurt people. Just like Baltimore does, but not to the extreme that Baltimore does. But I think with the fans, I think with it being in Philadelphia, I think Philadelphia is going to win. Even though I think it'd be great for the Rams to win, Philadelphia in the end. And then the next game, which I think is another game I'm really looking forward to, are the Ravens at the Bills. Now, I'm picking the Bills in this game. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen have both been MVP contenders this season. In fact, you look at everything, they're the top 2 in the running for the MVP, in my opinion. And if you ask me, I would give the MVP to Josh Allen on the sole fact that this is the best football that man's played in, so far. His head's in the right place. He's got everybody he needs. He doesn't have any distractions. He's ready to go. And they were close last year, but I think in the end it's going to end up being Buffalo and Kansas City in the championship game. But I'm picking Buffalo in this game to knock off the Ravens. But I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a close game. Although I do think Baltimore's going to go out there and try to hurt them. But, the Bills know that because the Bills and Ravens played each other earlier in the season to get to where, so they know all the how everything works. So that's all for sports. So now we're going to move into the what we're listening to segment and who we're listening to. And who are we listening to this week? We're listening to 3 Doors Down. They're a hard rock band from Mississippi. Escawapa, I think is how you pronounce it, Mississippi. They formed in 1996. I found out about them in 2002 with their Away from the Sun album. In fact, the song When I'm Gone was the first song that I can remember hearing from them, even though they had songs like Be Like That and Duck and Run and Loser and all that from their debut album. I found out about them in their second album in 2002. As I said, their debut album was The Better Life. They've had six studio albums, 29 singles, 22 music videos, 1 greatest hits, no live albums, and their last album they've done was in 2018, which was an album called Us in the Night. My favorite album from them is Away from the Sun. It was their sophomore effort. And it was it is a fantastic album. In fact, I talk about what song we're listening to. I want all of y'all to go out and listen to the whole album, Away from the Sun, from 2002, because that's an album that it's a great album. And they're a great band, and I hate to think, all their lineup changes that they've had. Away from the Sun was all original members. Now they've only got like 2 members that are the originals. And because one passed away and the other one got into some trouble. But they've replaced those guys, and now, there's only 2 original members left, the lead singer and guitarist. So go listen to Away from the Sun. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Hit that notification bell. And comment your thoughts on the video. I want to thank you guys for joining me this week. Thank you guys for going the distance. Have a good weekend, and we'll be back next week. God bless.